Again, you'll hear music first. And then when that's over, we'll go ahead and begin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. Joining us today, as some of you may have read a little early, John Stumbo of the Alliance. Welcome, John. Thank you for being here today.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Before we get started and talking, and again, we're going to have a lot of things to talk about today, I did want to do a shout out to our snow warriors out there, everybody clearing our streets over the last couple of days. Great job. We were able to get into a lot of the cul-de-sacs and side streets really quick. So again, keep those things in mind. We appreciate it. We've also done a couple of changes to some other things. There's a wonderful little community path that leads by Rose Hill Elementary School that the auditor, Stephen Sisak, was very instrumental in making sure we get that one cleared out as well so the kids can get to school. So we got that done. So I want to appreciate all of that. So now that we're done with that, the big thing, the big reveal, John, you and I have talked, an awful lot over the last few months, and we are finally able to talk publicly about a great, amazing opportunity for the city of Reynoldsburg, and we're thrilled to have you here. But first, let's kind of start off with some basic things. Tell me about the Alliance. Tell me, what is the Alliance for everybody who's maybe not had a chance to read the article or just wants to hear it straight from you?
Well, again, Mayor Joe, thanks for this privilege. It's fun to be with you in this way. Yeah, the Alliance is a 130-plus-year-old organization. It started in New York City as a single independent church that had a special concern for the marginalized, the overlooked, the people that were kind of pushed to the side of society. And so from that kind of heart, this organization kind of evolved. There was never a plan or intent to start a church denomination. That was never the dream. But over the years, because of the heart for people and the love of Jesus that was expressed, this thing kind of organically grew. And today there's 2,000 churches in the United States that are affiliated with our organization. One's in Reynoldsburg as well. And also internationally, it's become a very significant international movement, 22,000 churches worldwide. But if you only think of us as a church, then you're really missing a lot of the energy of this organization. So if you think relief and development, where there's hurricanes, earthquakes, famines, tsunamis, crises, we're often there. We're not the big name, getting headlines. We've never tried to be in the headlines. We're kind of awkward in the headlines. We're behind the scenes, helping the poor, the marginalized, the immigrant, the hungry. And so Women and Children's Hospital in one of the poorest sections of Africa. Schools for children that otherwise wouldn't have education in among the urban poor. So those kinds of pictures would depict a lot of what we're about and who we are.
Okay, well, thank you. I think that gives a pretty good, clear understanding. Now, I know a lot of people are looking. They saw the pictures and they were online, and so I just kind of want to talk a little bit about this. This whole thing started off, I want to say August or September, maybe August, and I think that there was a site visit, and Andrew Boucher, who was instrumental in bringing this all together. He told me, hey, I got this thing over at the K-Mart. It was a rainy, cloudy day, which in Ohio really doesn't narrow it down, but we'll go with that. And he said he was going to go out, and then he came back and he told me and said, yeah, it was kind of an interesting meeting. They gave us some ideas, and then it just kind of started to grow organically from there. And then we found out that through a number of processes that you guys were going to be coming with a larger group of people to kind of take a look at the site and hear what the city had to say for us to kind of convince you that we were the right place for you. And so you talked with Andrew about a lot of potential things that maybe you would like to see, some possibilities. And so Andrew and OHM worked really hard to come up with I want to call it, it's not a template because but kind of like a vision. And so that's what some of the pictures that everybody has seen is kind of like based on what you said that you would love to see. Could it fit? Could it be visualized in a place like this? Knowing the fact that a lot of things are going to change. I always joke when people see the pictures, are they all going to be white buildings? No, they're not. It's not. It's a lot more generic than that. So when we figure out this concept of everything and we brought you in, it just helped kind of like frame what could be possible here without necessarily tying you down. So when you come here to Reynoldsburg, what are you looking to do? What are you thinking you're going to be bringing to the table in here? What would you like to see as we work together on this?
Well, you're correct. First of all, Andrew should get a city shout out. I mean, the guy's amazing. His heart for the city, his vision for the city. And I'll tell you more of the story later, but we visited 90 different properties. And I'll tell you this, in 3 different cities, the city hardly ever showed up. And so to have Andrew standing there, first time the city had ever showed up, commercial real estate brokers, we met a lot of those, but for the city to show interest, that was very fascinating to us. Didn't really understand why. And then on that second visit that you've referenced, where you guys pulled out these architectural renderings of what could be there, I was jaw dropped. I went to the back of your council room and just sat there and stared for 15 minutes because A, you were really welcoming us. B, you had zoning that was like very favorable to development and the kinds of things we dreamed of. And C, you went way beyond what I ever anticipated would be on that property. I was picturing a fourth of that development in my head, but you showed us what could be. And you showed us that we were like welcome to the table. So what from our end, our conversations, not knowing that you guys were doing that, because you really did do a big reveal that day. From our end, what we've dreamt about for a long time is here we are, an organization that engages with communities and cares about people. Yet we come to our office and nobody ever comes to our office because one of those standalone set aside by ourselves in a business park, kind of situation. So we want to get out in the community. And besides, we host dozens of events every year. And so why do we leave our campus to go do that in some ballroom that's not set up for the kinds of things that we want to do? Why don't we become the host of our own events and then open that building up to others who need to have an event, whether that's for 10 people or 400 people. We do all sizes. No, we're not going to do the 3,000 thing. Columbus itself has a great convention center, so we can go there for the mega events. But for a lot of us, whether teacher association, police association, all those kind of groups, and dozens more, that you just need to get together and need a place for that. So these are the kinds of dreams that were in our head. Yes, we need an office, that would hold 100 people of our own employees. But for that office to be commingled with the community, so we have coffee. Why don't we have coffee that the community can come to and have the best coffee around? Not to be in competition with some other coffee shop, but we was just dreaming of these kinds of dreams, where what we do as an organization that throughout the world has community centers and hospitals and schools and all these kind of things. Why don't we model that as the corporate, so to speak, the home office? Mm-hmm. So those were some of the dreams that really just seemed to converge. Other places we went, it was, well, maybe they'd let us do that, or we could kind of force the building to do that. But being able to tear down an old K-Mart, which will be a fun day, won't it, Joe?
Oh, you have no idea. There'll be crowds.
All right. Well, we want to make that a fun moment because there is not only a new beginning for the city of Reynoldsburg, we hope, for that specific property, but a new beginning for our organization.
Well, and that's one of the things that it was a great meeting. We did take out all the stops. We wanted to show you that we were interested in it. The property has been for sale for quite some time, but we were looking for something that was a little bit different. Andrew likes to reference a place called Grandview Yard. So for those of you watching, watching in Columbus, you may be familiar with that. where you have a little bit of mix of everything. You have the coffee shop, which I want to ask you about in a minute, but restaurant, retail, those types of things. Now you have something very similar, but on a much more limited scale in Salem. Am I correct? Is that?
Yeah, prior to my role here, I was a pastor in Salem, Oregon. And we were one of those landlocked churches in a neighborhood, 3,000 people, large church, but it was kind of tucked away. There was a property that was available contiguous to our land that was on on Broadway Street, a main street. But it had sat unoccupied for a long time. Used car dealership went out. City put requirements on it that nobody touched. But a new mayor came in and changed the requirements. And so we went to the mayor and said, could we partner with the city on building something on one of your redevelopment sites? And with again, just wonderful church city cooperation, people of faith and people of goodwill working together for the common good of the city. It was a wonderful partnership. And so we left the first floor on the tax rolls in that particular situation with coffee and restaurant. And then what became a free medical clinic, which is a completely different story, helping those without health insurance. But anyway, that's that building. We're on the second and third floor. There's those conference room kind of places. Fourth floor was leased out for other offices. A prayer center was tucked in there. So it was this fascinating convergence of church and community and commerce all coming together. And one way that I try to describe it is, when does a city get a student union or a hub like a college has? And, some people reference Starbucks. Well, Starbucks has a great purpose out there, and you probably got 2 or 3 in Reynoldsburg, but that's for only like 12 people, 20 people at a time. When is there a place that's like big enough to become what became known in Salem as the city's living room?
Yeah, that's the phrase that was kind of the key that stuck out. The city's living room. One of the big things that I try to promote here, obviously with this show and with many other things, is communication. And I think a lot of the issues that we face in general today can be solved by just sitting down and having a conversation. And if it's a good cup of Joe, then let's go for it. So I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I know the next biggest question, aside from what's going in there, is a very simple one. When's that building? What's the timeline on the building coming down? What are we looking at?
Well, we're still fully occupying a 58,000 square foot building in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that I'm coming to from. This is my office here. I have the finest office that I can imagine. I look out straight at Pikes Peak, the Air Force Academy, Garden of the Gods. It's a fabulous setting that we're in. This building is for sale. We're beginning to get a lot of interest, and we hope to move in this summer. Now, Joanne and I, as the president and wife, we sold our home and we're coming soon. So we feel like we need to lead the advance team. But we're talking a lot of lives that we're disrupting. The people living here in Colorado Springs really weren't planning on moving. They came to Colorado because they like Colorado and they like this organization. But for a wide variety of reasons that maybe I'll have time to explain in a moment, we chose to relocate. So it'll begin this summer. We're seeking to acquire this a temporary office building and right in the Reynoldsburg region. And then hopefully the demolition begins or will be done this summer. When we can actually begin putting up walls and all that, we've not begun our architectural renderings. We're just, kind of a phase process here. And also, as a nonprofit, we work with a board of directors. And so we have to be very respectful of that relationship. So while I'm the president, it's not like a CEO just saying, here's where we go. We work through our board. And so that's a beautiful process, a great board, but it also makes, for some timing of matters as well. So, over the next 2 years, there'll be stuff that's dirt turning and walls going up and all that, but I can't give you an exact timeline.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody is looking at. And I think obviously this is not going to be the only time that you're hopefully a guest on this show. You'll be back, and one day maybe we'll do something like a live feed at the site itself and things like that. I think there's a lot of potential for it. But I know that those are going to be some of the questions and all of that. In my mind, we have our big tomato festival in August, and I think that if you're looking at late summer, between August and the in Labor Day, somewhere around there, that would be great. But obviously, we have to do this right. This is not a small thing. This is a major undertaking that you guys are doing, and you want to make sure you guys do it the right way, and to make sure that what you build here is going to be long lasting and serves the needs of, of what you're trying to do and the community itself. So it's going to be a great partnership. So I do have to ask about the selection process. You mentioned that you went to a lot of different places. You obviously heard the sales pitch and the convincing about why Reynoldsburg wanted you, but tell me a little bit more about that process.
Yes, thank you. So a year and a half ago, I raised a conversation with our leadership team. Is this style of office and is this specific city the right place and concept for our organization? And the unified agreement was no, we have to do something. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be hard, but we need to do something. So we started a list of criteria. Well, if we're starting over, it'd be nice to be in a top 100 airport. Colorado Springs is a wonderful airport, but it just doesn't go very many places. And it would be a building design change. Now, remember, this is pre-COVID that all of this is talking about. COVID has only accented and emphasized everything that we talked about, has not undermined or driven anything we've talked about. All of this is pre-COVID. So airport building design, we just need a different concept for how we go about things for our own purposes. Cost of living, we can no longer pay our new employees enough to buy a house here in Colorado Springs, as our costs have skyrocketed, largely driven by space, high tech, and that kind of industry. And so we're kind of getting priced out of our market. Now I know that houses are moving super fast in Reynoldsburg and Columbus and all that as well. I get it. We're trying to buy one, but all that to say, cost of living is preferable for us there. Diversity is very high on our list. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, Mayor Joe, is that of the 2,000 churches that I said here in the United States, we're in 37 languages. Here in the United States, we're in 200 languages worldwide. But here in the States, 50% of the people who would walk into the door of one of our churches do not have the skin tone that you and I have. And so, but our staff here in Colorado Springs doesn't represent the diversity of our organization. So now you can start to see how, wow, Columbus Airport, top 100, lower cost of living. They can start their own building. There's the diversity in our region that attracted us. The fact that your school district, as I understand, is kind of a 40-40-20 mix of population. That's very intriguing to us and the kind of environment that we want to be in. And then there's other factors on that list. So what we did then was we, with a commercial real estate firm, said identify cities throughout the United States that are top 100 airport, greater ethnic diversity, better cost of living than Colorado Springs, and give us a list. Well, there were about 18 cities on that list, but then we went to the next step and overlaid our map of our churches over the top of that, and 3 cities emerged then as the lead contenders: Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Columbus as the Metroplex areas. And so we took 4 trips with large teams to all of those cities. And as I said, visited 90 different properties, vacant land, abandoned Sears, nice office buildings, other types of structures. And when Andrew met us, that's when this storyline really began between the Alliance and Reynoldsburg.
That's great. It's fascinating. I always joke many songs will be sung of the experience to bring you here, and we'll definitely share that as we kind of go through, because a lot of things went to it, and we can't throw out. We had Brian from our Parks Department driving our bus to take you guys around. We had a great lunch at Vic's Pizza, so one of our local expert places to go to. So we want to give them a thank you, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm glad that Reynoldsburg kind of that appealed to you, that we found a good match with each other. I cannot wait to work together as we move forward. And I know you're on your way here soon with your wife, and I can't wait to meet her as well and have these great conversations.
I'm glad you mentioned Vic's Pizza. and then was it the Hickory House?
Yeah, Hickory House is just, yep, that's the next one. Yes.
So I'm sure you've got countless great establishments, but you started with two locals that were just like, wow, if I like the food, I'm already all the more engaged. So a shout out to Vix and the Hickory House. Yeah.
Oh, we appreciate that. Again, I look forward to meeting with you and talking with you as we kind of move forward with this. We'd like to thank you for your time. I know all of our people watching at home. I can't wait to hear from you again. And when you get here, we'll make sure and do some introductions and hopefully have a live shot at some point in time.
Well, we're moving to the area in March, so we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for this opportunity. This is a great
Thank
privilege.
you very much. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. This is kind of giving you an idea of what came up with the Alliance group that's there. So we're going to kind of go ahead and go through some of our other topics like we usually do. And this is going to be a good thing to talk about. So we have our Parks and Recreation information. We have the military banner program that is in full swing. So if you're interested in that, make sure you come to the Reynoldsburg webpage and you can look up the military banner to have that ready to go as we get closer to Memorial Day in May, when hopefully the snow will not be here. We also have spring sports coming up. We are looking for a couple of coaches, so check out the Parks and Rec page. I know that there's a couple of coaches, I think, in softball and in baseball that they're looking at. What you don't want is you don't want me and anything coach pitch related. That was not my expertise when I was a coach in baseball. It tells you everything you're not supposed to do. So we could use some good volunteers out there. We do have some events coming up. The Tomato Festival, we have great news on that one as well today. We have our locked in musical guests. Not going to tell you right now. One of them, it's called the Land Sharks. They'll be our Thursday night act. They were going to be here last year until everything went wacko. But they're going to be here and plenty of people in funny, good costumes, including some shark costumes and things like that. But you'll hear what our Friday and Saturday night acts are over the next couple of weeks. They'll be announced between now and the State of the City, which I'll get to in a little bit. We also have a code enforcement town hall meeting that's going to be starting on March 11th at 7 p.m. And it's going to basically be a Zoom thing. And we'll have one of our code enforcers on, and we're going to talk about what code enforcement is going to look like this year. What can you do? What is the purpose of code enforcement? Why are we looking to do some of the things we are doing? Again, a lot of it is just basically to make the community as aesthetically pretty as possible, but then also making sure people are responsible and taking care of their property. I do have a good water department hint for today. As I spent most of the weekend doing laundry of smelly teenagers. When you do your laundry, make sure you try and use as full load as you possibly can. And when the time comes that you have to replace a washing machine, which if you have any luck like me is right about the same time that you have a wash in there and then it stops working in the middle of the laundry that you need the next day, make sure you look for those energy efficient symbols. Make sure you get something that's energy efficient, that really conserves the water out there. That would be something that would be helpful as well. You can also wash everything in cold. That can help a little bit with the energy savings as well, even though some of them say not to. We do have our next fireside chat guest on February, it would be the 17th, 16th, 17th? Yeah, 17th, that's right, 17th, yeah, 17th. And we have Reynoldsburg City School Board member Angela Abram will be joining us. So I'm sure we'll have some good conversations with her about her time on the board, some of the difficulties that she's faced with COVID and other related issues, and some of the exciting things that are coming through Reynoldsburg in the not too distant future. We do have a couple of things for development. I want to kind of go over a little bit some of the pictures. So I'm going to do my little share thing here. Again, a lot of this is nothing more than what you saw in the newspaper. So these are the mock-ups, the designs. One of the things that we tried to do is present a vision to bring the Alliance here. We also worked with Jobs Ohio and One Columbus and keeping them involved in the process to bring these great jobs to the city. And so you kind of see things. And really what this did is this gave everybody kind of like a framework of what could possibly be here. So with our new zoning code, you see that the buildings are relatively close to the street, whether it's Broad Street or not. Now, not all of these properties are going to look the same. Not all these properties are going to be exactly like this. That's, we're in really early phases for that stuff. But the idea is the theme is going to be the same, where it's going to be very open, very welcoming, the living room aspect that John mentioned. Where you have a lot of ability to kind of come in and talk and see what's going on. You can kind of see here, that this is what it looks like from the up. So for a couple of key things to look at, you'll notice that there is a library. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Can you see the cursor? So here's the library down. It's at the very in the bottom corner of it. That's going to be coming in. It's a brand new library. The existing building is going to be torn down, and the building next to it is. And they're going to design something that is going to be that's going to match a lot of what's going to happen on the other side of the development. But again, that's just kind of give you an idea that the library is there. Now, obviously, you don't see a McDonald's and you don't see a Taco Bell. They're not going away. McDonald's is still going to be on the property for a few more years. I know they're talking about potentially doing some other things with it, but they're not leaving Reynoldsburg. I have too many people, including my assistant, who will be very upset if Taco Bell probably makes a run for the border and leaves the city of Reynoldsburg. We're not going to let them get away. We want them to stay here, just maybe not in the same place. So we'll just see how that all works out. But the one thing I wanted to show you is the Broadway Commons building that John referenced. This is what the building looks like. So he talked about out in Salem, the partnership between the city and the community and the commerce aspect of everything. Specifically, when you look at that first floor with the coffee shop and restaurant. And so those are the things that, provide that tax base. So, and a lot of people have asked questions about how do the taxes work and things like that. So that's something that's there that will help generate revenue, not only for the school district through property taxes, but obviously the income that brings in and whatever other services may come here in the future. So it's just kind of gives you an idea of what the interior of the coffee shop looks like. Again, that living room aspect of things. And I thought it was important to kind of show a couple of those pictures just to let you see what it would look like. So those are the kind of things I just wanted to show you real briefly. Again, those are all potential of what could be there. The idea is we do the process slowly, methodically, making sure that we hit all the points that are there and do it in the right way meet the needs again of the Alliance as well as the community itself. Believe it or not, we've already had a lot of phone calls. We actually last week when the announcement came out that I said that next week tune in. We started getting some calls from different developers, and we're starting to make some calls on ourselves. I know there are a few people out there that are talking about what kind of cool restaurants can we get? Are there entertainment options, things like that? Everything's a possibility. We're going to do our best to meet what the needs of the community are, to fit in with the vision at the property as well. But the overall idea is to make sure that this entire region, the Bryce Road corridor, that we definitively make a stand here and say, this is what we're going to do with our community. We're going to make it look better. We're going to bring that aesthetic touch back. We're going to bring the jobs, and we're going to go ahead and start marching all the way down Bryce Road. So we're going to continue on until we get to 70, and we'll have great conversations with our partners in Columbus to make sure that they understand that we're doing a lot of great things, and we want to partner with them to make sure the rest of Bryce Road is redeveloped. But at the same time, it's not just about Bryce Road. It's also about Main Street. It's also about Wagner Road. It's also about Taylor Road. It's also about every little part of Old Town. It's all of these things that we're working at. There's no one singular project that we're doing. We are moving at full speed on a lot of things. And then at the same time, we're still providing those great city services to you. So I hope you stay with us on the show and see those types of things. We do have our State of the City, which again, maybe there'll be some new surprises there as well. There's all sorts of fun stuff, and we're going to do that on February 25th at 7 p.m. I do invite you all to attend. I wish we could do it in live in person, but it will be through Zoom. But I'll have some pictures and some different renderings about some things where we've been, and most importantly, where we're going. And you'll actually get to see a little bit of the video of the time that we found out here at City Hall when the Alliance actually selected us. We made sure that we knew it was going to be something either really, really good and fun, or it was one of those videos that we would take and everybody would be sad and we'd never watch again. So those are the kind of things. Now with that, I'm sure there are any questions out there.
I have one that came in that we haven't heard before. It says, how does the objectives of this development conflict with the community objectives of the taxpayer-supported YMCA?
How does it, I'm not sure what.
She's just asking if I think with when you're talking about the community.
Oh, as far as the community, okay. So all right. So I guess different focuses, I guess. Obviously the YMCA is geared towards, some of the athletic, different types of things like that. And it's something specific that obviously it was a city sponsored project through issue 11 that we went ahead and built the building. This, on the other hand, is it's a private development. It's nothing, we are more or less helping with the vision to connect, the developer with what is the potential for the property to make sure that it fits within the requirements of the zoning code and things like that. So that's what that part of it is. So it's really we're guides on the process more so than anything else. But at the same time, whenever we can do to bring more community involvement, the better all the way around.
That was it?
That was it? Okay. There were a couple of questions. I think I answered about the tax questions for those of you that have been following on on social media as far as how the tax process goes and things like that. So if you want to look at that information as well. And then one question that also did come up, as far as, that the Alliance and I, we had good conversations about the city's goals and objectives, as well as its policies, specifically when it concerns the anti-discrimination policy as well. So we had those conversations, and we know where we're coming from. And really, the Alliance is not just coming now. The Alliance has been here. They've been a church for a while, along with a lot of other additional churches. And we will find ways to work through any potential issues that come up, which I don't imagine there's going to be. We're all here for the same reason. We're all here to bring the community closer together, to provide access and help those that need it. And we will do a good job with that. So I'm very happy that they're here. I've wanted to announce this for so long. Like I said, if you heard earlier in the show, we started this process probably in August. I think we finally got our confirmation sometime in October, but nothing moves as fast as I wanted to. But again, it's one of those things that we were there, but we wanted to make sure that it was done right. And it's going to be great change and great opportunity to, especially that side of Reynoldsburg, but Reynoldsburg in general. So I look forward to seeing how this thing grows. For the rest of you out there, stay safe. I know that there's more snow on the way. I know our snow warriors are gearing up with coffee and adrenaline to go out and clear those things off again. Closing remark. Oh, actually, I forgot. We do have the community commissions meeting later tonight. So if you want to tune into that, I'll be back on Zoom later tonight to talk about our community commissions. And we're getting to that time where they're going to start presenting to council. So what have they been doing for so long? So now you're going to get a chance to find that out. The rest of you, please stay safe, stay respectful. I know it's cold, I know it's snowy, but you can put your shopping carts back. It's okay. We believe you can do it. So with that, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.